Joining me now, Republican Congressman Matt Gaetz, member of the House Judiciary Committee. Congressman, good to have you with us as well today. I want to just put up one of the new pieces of information that we got today. This is from Catherine Croft's transcript. She's a State Department employee. She says, I sat down with Ambassador Taylor and charged my very frank assessment that the White House was not likely to change its policy on Ukraine, except in the event that the president viewed it that Biden was going to be a credible rival for him in the upcoming election, and that furthering the narrative that Russia was for the Republicans and Ukraine was for the Democrats would be in his interest, and that might push him to change the policy on Ukraine. Your thoughts on that and on the big picture tonight?
I think that time and again, you'll see the individuals testifying this coming week fit into the category of people who had a substantive policy disagreement with the administration and the administration that they themselves were a part of. You see time and again people as a part of the diplomatic corps push back on any administration that comes in and tries to change things up. President Trump has a different way of interacting with other countries. He has a different style. And here I think you see testimony consistent with what you'll hear from Kent and Yovanovitch and Taylor, and that is that they didn't agree with what the president was doing, and they think it's impeachable, whereas I think the country won't.
So, you know, as we were just talking about, that becomes the central question. And you heard Judge Napolitano, and you talked about, you know, the way the president does things. He says that, you know, on a straight legal basis, the way the president did this could be impeachable.
I agree with much of what the judge said. I would disagree that bribery would be applicable for this reason. For bribery to have been committed, you have to be asking someone to do something that they would not otherwise do. With President Zelensky, he ran an entire campaign on rooting out corruption. He even said to the president that he didn't believe that enough had been done yet and that he needed to make changes with prosecutors to ensure that justice was done in the Ukraine. And it seems only justifiable then for the president to say, well, if you're looking under the hood, let's make sure that there weren't Americans or American administrations or Joe Biden linked to any of that corruption. So I don't think the bribery charge will have any chance to stick because it fails to meet an essential element.
I mean, it brings to mind what Gordon Sondland said, the ambassador to the EU, when he spoke with the president on the phone. He said, what do you want, you know, in terms of Ukraine? And he said, there's no quid pro quo. I want the president Zelensky to do what he said he would do in the campaign in terms of corruption. So, you know, we'll see where it goes. I want to play this. This is from Eric Swalwell. Congressman Swalwell is part of this committee that will be questioning on Wednesday. Here's what he said he thinks the focus is all about.
We have enough evidence from the depositions that we've done to warrant bringing this forward, evidence of an extortion scheme using taxpayer dollars to ask a foreign government to investigate the president's opponent.
So, you know, I mean, we're at the beginning of this process, supposedly, but Congressman Swalwell says that he already sees in the facts here extortion.
I like Eric Swalwell a lot. He's a talented guy, but I'm still waiting for Eric Swalwell's last doomsday predictions regarding this administration to come true. I don't know why anyone takes Eric seriously when he talks about, you know, the end of the presidency being right around the corner. He said precisely the same thing in the Russia investigation.
He did.
My advice to Democrats would be maybe bench the Schiff Swalwell team that all told us the president was getting impeached over Russia, and maybe hand this off to people, you know, on the more moderate side, some of these people in the Trump won districts, and have them take a look at it with a little more objectivity, because it's just hard to believe these folks who gave us these outrageous claims before.
Well, from your side, how concerned are you about these witnesses? Because what we've heard is that they will come across very earnest, very credible. They've served their country in a variety of ways in the military, as an ambassador. Do you think that that will damage what you would like to see the outcome be here?
I don't think we have to smear anybody's patriotism to reflect on the fact that these are folks who are part of permanent Washington. They're part of a permanent diplomatic corps, a permanent way of thinking where the only way that you can conduct foreign policy is through ambassadors in the State Department, when in fact presidents for a long period of time, even going back to JFK and the Cuban Missile Crisis, have used other back channels to try to accomplish foreign policy. Now here, people may have disagreed with the president's goals. They might have thought that he shouldn't have used Mayor Mayor Giuliani in quite the way that Mayor Giuliani was used, but that is hardly impeachable. That is just something that causes tension within an administration. And unfortunately, in the times in which we live, what would normally be considered maybe an uncouth moment or tension now is just reflexively thrown into the category of impeachment, I think in large part because Democrats and folks in the mainstream media were humiliated over the Russia hoax.
Well, this campaign of these hearings will be decided by the American people, I think, in terms of how they read it when they take all this in. And that's part of what this whole thing is about.
True.
Congressman Gaetz, thank you very much. Good to see you tonight.
Happy Veterans Day.
Thank you. To you as well.